We're back here ready to discuss the first round of fantasy. Finally, it's here.
Come on.
Hello and welcome back to Off the Mark, an AFL fantasy podcast. I'm Mason.
And I'm Casey, and well, I guess we're here. That was one hell of a week.
We made it. We made it to some scores on the board. We made it to a rank. And look, let's just... I don't think ranks need to matter. Like we can cruise by that for the first few weeks. Definitely not saying that because of mine, but look. Well, let's get straight to it. How did we perform? Just quickly, I had a final score of... Oh, it's not showing my score. Oh, hold on. Round one, here we go. I had a score of 2006, so not fantastic, but at least I cracked the 2K, and I'm sitting at rank 51,449, so not bad, but would have liked it to be better. But again, it's the long game. Don't have many buy players at all, so this is the week that I can pounce without, your Dave Mosses, your Walshes.
Exactly.
All those kind of guys.
Exactly. I'm thinking exactly the same thing. I had a round score of 2017, just top gen head-to-head by a couple of points. Had some ups, had some downs, and I thought it's just be quick to mention that the Off the Mark team that I silently made off the podcast, which was a kind of a mashup between the two of our teams just before the round started, that outscored you with a 2008. So
gosh.
So we'll track that one. We might put some stuff up on the Instagram stories with what we should do with our trades. A little bit of an off the mark team, but a little bit of fun there.
Definitely, so head over to @offthemark.fantasy to vote on what our trades should be this week. There's a lot of things going around, but let's start by going through the games, I guess, because we haven't seen a lot of these players before. We're going to keep it short and shiny today, just go through the relevant players, and you can come back with us on Thursday night before the bounce, or maybe a little after the bounce it might be released, to finalize trades, do all the later week stuff. But we're just going to look through a round one review today, and it started off with Carlton. I don't even think I can say beating Richmond. Carlton against Richmond. No one won this game. Carlton technically did, but yeah, and really fantasy, no one won. Sam Walsh was a popular player, 100. Roll looked good. If you went there, it's fine. If you didn't get hurt. That's pretty much it. And Jagger, again, there's not much to say about him. He was fantastic. 99 for him. No other relevant blues for us, I guess. But the main name over at Richmond was Sam Grill with a 90. And a lot of people missing this on their bench. And, geez, was this, bad at the time. But I actually had two better scores on my bench, who we'll talk about later.
Yeah, and I thought, it's not an off-the-mark round one review if we don't mention Jack Ross with a 93. If you remember, one of our first ever podcasts, we did Richmond Blues, and we Jack Ross with a massive 114 in his first game. Yep. So a little bit of an off the mark, a little bit of a throwback there for us. So you're not picking Jack Ross.
He's our boy. You're not, but hey, a 93 is not bad for a guy priced at 73. So look, we'll give him a shout out. At the top there as well, Jaden Short, 114, a friend of ours from last year. Did very well. I'm not sure you can be going there, but look, worth a look without a buy. But yeah, Sam Grewd had a great role, halfback, looked amazing, looked like a senior player already. So if you don't have him, it's not too late. He has, what has it gone up to now? 322k he's at now.
So, the role looks good.
That was what he was at. He's at 371k. So yeah.
Yeah. Role looks good. He gets those marks when they do their little kicks inside. He's often there for their rebound 50s, which is pretty good. So you like to see that, and that will stay with him. So you can lock that in.
Definitely. Another name there for the Tigers that some might have been picking was Sam Lawler with a 68, which at the time looked a little bit disappointing, but honestly wasn't bad because of what his, contemporaries did, I guess. So had that big third quarter with a 28, which was good, but he did have a goal there and 2 goals for the game. So 68 with 2 goals, not fantastic. You take those goals out and it's a, 56? I think, you hold, but you don't buy. And I have a feeling I'll be saying that a lot today.
Yeah.
You hold and you don't buy. Just one more name there as well. Josh Gibcus with a 52. If anyone did go down there at the 230K, he was all right. But let's go on to Friday night where we saw, well, there was definitely a winner in this game, I think, quite clearly if you watch the game, and that was Hawthorn beating Essendon by, I don't even want to count. Zach Merritt
62.
was top scorer for Essendon, 112 he scored, had a great midfield role, just like any doubts that we had, which I know I definitely had mine at the start of the preseason over what his role would be, were not there. He looked fantastic. So, look, could be an upgrade target if you were looking for someone that's not a buy player, because we do want to be avoiding those now that we are into the season. He's definitely an option. And another one possibly that could be an option is Jai Caldwell, who scored a 91, but he was actually on fire. I mean, after halftime, he had 3-point third quarter and 11-point fourth quarter after, what is that, a 77-point first half, which is insane. So, yeah, what was your read on these two guys in the midfield?
Yeah, look, I liked Zach Merritt. I thought his role off the kind of rebound, you could say, off the back line every now and then, or at least he was often behind
defensive
the ball as a
midfielder.
bit of a sweeper kind of thing. If I'm thinking soccer
Yeah.
terms, but it's Caldwell the one that I'm actually really interested in. I might not target him this week, but the fact that he had that higher score in the first half and then Essendon dropped off as a team in the second half, that's not to say that they won't do that again. I don't think Essendon are going to be winning too many games this year, and that could be a bit of a worry. But the fact that he had 74 or whatever it was and then went Coldwell, if you will, in that second half, the fact that he still got to a 90 with such a low scoring half, makes me optimistic that he might actually be able to score us a good set of games in a row. I'm not sure what their run is like, but if they ever have a West Coast and a Richmond within 3 games of each other, it wouldn't be the worst shout to go someone like a Caldwell, because we know from last year just how high his ceiling is. But yeah, I'm not put off completely. You don't buy into that by any means. But if you had him,
No.
I'm honestly not as worried.
No, and he did spend a lot of time on the bench, went there 5 different times for about 3 or 4 minute stints, once in the first quarter, once in the second quarter, twice in the third quarter, it looks like there, yes, and then once in the fourth quarter as well. So that twice in the third quarter was what kind of kept him off the ground for a fair bit. He was kind of on the bench almost for half the quarter. But in terms of role and for Merritt as well, Caldwell had 70%, Zach Merritt 68%, so they're the main two in there. Then it went Roberts 57, Parrish 54, Durham 43. So that's the main 5 we're going to see in there. And let's talk Archie Roberts and Parrish, I guess. So Parrish with a 75, Roberts with a 59. These guys had really low time on ground, which was the main takeaway from this. And it's just a bit confusing. I don't know why this happened. It's terrible coaching from Brad Scott, particularly with Archie Roberts, get some speed into the game, and he was just sitting on the bench there with 61% time on ground. And Parrish maybe a little bit more understandable. First game back in a while. Still playing that, midfield role. He didn't do much resting at like a half forward from what I saw. He was on the field and I didn't spot him at some CBAs. So he definitely did have a resting position. I didn't quite catch where that was. Looked like maybe it might have been, wing-ish, half forward kind of thing. But he didn't spend too much time there. But he also had the 69% time on ground. So disappointing efforts from those guys, I guess. And Parrish is an odd one. I mean, I have him. I don't know whether to jump or I can't remember who said this, but it is screaming of Ollie Hollands of last year. Of that just doesn't pop a good score in his first game, and his break even sits around exactly what he's going to score, and that's mid-70s, and he's not going to do anything for us but score mid-70s. No, we're not going to make any cash. And so I'm wondering, do we just get off this guy now? I mean, at least some other, lower mid-prices have some room to grow still, like a Windsor or a Blackiston that some others are talking about. But I just think that this is almost a lost cause and a completely failed pick. I know it's rich to say that after one round, but that's my take on it.
That's what Monday's for. Yeah.
Exactly. Other players there. Well, let's talk Blackiston 47. So he was actually pretty good. Had 53 at 3/4 time, and then had a -6 last quarter, which was not great. I'll cut him some slack. He got double teamed by Reeves and who's the other guy in here?
Meek. Should be
Meek, Reeves and Meek. So he got double teamed by them. It was tough, and does worry me that they'll bring in Vicentini of the Essendon variety at some point, maybe to help him out a little bit. That's a concern, but you probably hold. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just above rookie
That's
score.
what I'm thinking.
It's
Hawthorn's gonna be a hard ruck matchup for anyone this year, let alone a bloke who's playing his first AFL game as not his first AFL game, but his first AFL game as a number one ruck, solo ruckman.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure, at least. I don't really know much about his history, but I would assume so from how he looked, at least from the eye test. But no, comes up against
Yeah.
Port Adelaide and Vicentini of the Dante variety, who's a little bit easier to score against. So we should see some, and I don't think you jump ship straight away. Yes, I personally have moved him straight to my bench, and he will sit there. He will not see the field of my field pretty much ever again, I would say. But it doesn't mean we have to trade him out straight away. I think there's some bigger issues for some other blokes who got injured and things like that we might talk about a bit later.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I mean, break even at 32, scored a 47. He's still got a little bit of cash to make. I could see him getting to that 450, maybe 500 mark if he can have a good one here against Port. But I think we're looking to move pretty soon. I know some people were talking about maybe, holding him, swapping him to R3 and letting him generate cash there. I don't think he's going to generate us much cash, if any at all. But yeah, I don't think it's. I think we're fixing up other rookies before we get rid of him. Other names there for the Bombers. Dyson Sharp was a little late in for me. I had a bit of a revelation with who did I get rid of? Someone in my midfield that I got rid of, and just thought, you know what, I'll go Dyson Sharp. I also didn't really have any players to watch in this game, and so I wanted to have a reason to watch it. And he was good, 50, looks solid. Not 2 goals in that, so it's not a fantastic score, but kicks off his cash gen. Sitting on my bench now with a 15 break even's good. So yeah, 318k he's up to now. So you're not launching into that, but it's fine. If you picked it, he might be a bit of a slow burner there for you.
Yeah. That's all.
Over to the Hawks though, and we saw top scorer James Sicily with a 120. God, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? I know we mentioned it a couple of times in the preseason, but I mean definitely not with a bye now. But
No,
if
2
he
games
keeps
in a
putting
row.
this up, you could be targeting him off. Yeah, it's pretty big. 89 last week and then 120. Not bad. But there's not too many names that we're looking for here. Connor McDonald is probably the main one. Scored an 84. Interesting because you look down their scores, he's about just under halfway through with an 84. So they scored 1,900 points, which shows how easy this Essendon matchup looks like it's going to be, which is good for us. But yeah, I mean, if you went there for McDonald, it's a good round, I guess. He's not generating much cash after a 79 and 84, priced at about 70, so it's getting there. But look, I don't think you're mad if you went there. I don't think you're buying into it. So there's that. Over to Saturday, and we saw the Bulldogs demolish the Giants. There were some big demolishings this round. And at the top there for the Bulldogs was the Bont, doing Bont things with a 135. In that he kicked 3 goals, had 21 kicks, 12 handballs, 6 marks, 3 tackles, just a full, 46-point first quarter, 37, 30, 22. Great quarter splits, just everything you want from a premium. Obviously has the buy, so we're not targeting him or any of these other premiums if you don't already have them, but yeah, was just great from him. Prime time Bont. Other names there for the Dogs. Tim English, 121, was good. Great if you went there as a captain pick. I think that was. I want to give him his props. He clutched up for us when we didn't have a VC option, and although it may have been the popular pick, that I haven't actually seen the percentage numbers of how many went there, but man, it was great. And he'll definitely be in line for a captain option this week against McAndrew. But we will maybe possibly get a look at him with a VC, which is good because they play on the Friday night, I think. So great there. And if you didn't have him, I still think you're not picking him. If you haven't picked up, I think we're pretty firm, both of us, on we're not picking guys who have the round 3 or 4 bye.
I think just
because we're in round 2 now.
You can't. As soon as the season starts, your only time to get a buy player was before the season started. So now that we're 1 game in, you just it's hard to go to a premium that has a buy. Like the only premium that I'd even consider would be a Merit or maybe a Sarong, if you want to call them a premium. That's the only blokes that I'd really consider going to. But even then, just save the cash and get one of these round 2 blokes like your Nick Dacos or even a Bailey Smith or someone like that.
Yeah, and if you are, I guess we'll talk about that. All those strategies later if you are wondering what to do with your trades. Other names there for the Bulldogs, man. Take a bow, Lockie Jacks. 112 he had playing off halfback. And once again, just like Grill, I had this one on my bench. And who did I field? Sarong, who we'll get to later. But spoiler alert, he did not score 112. So this look, I was really disappointed with this, but I've come to terms with it. At least I had him, 1. yes, I think most people probably would have off of his opening round score. But two, I've essentially missed 1 week of his on-field scores if he continues doing this. I've lost maybe 40, 50 points from not having him and having Sarong on field anyways, but now I get to kind of make that back over the next few weeks. But these rookies are here to generate cash, and I mean, if you're scoring 112, it's a score as well, but that is exactly what he's doing as a basement price. What's he up to now? So he's at 384 already. Yeah. 154,000 he made over opening round and round 1, which is insane. So take a bow, Lockie Jackson. Honestly, I'll give my props to Connor Buddery because this was looking nightmarish.
This is rough.
From the start. So just looking at his quarter splits, there's 7 in the first quarter, terrible. 37 in the second quarter was amazing. So sitting on 37 and a half times, still probably not where we wanted him. 18 in the third quarter, I was thinking, oh shit, he's gonna score a 60 and just kill his cash gen. Then a 32-point last quarter, he was fantastic. So finished on 87, keeps his cash gen going, and he started at 506k, is already up to 601k, so almost gone up 100k, which is fantastic for him. Don't think there's any more dogs that are... Oh, do you want to talk about your boy Ed Richards?
Yeah, this is really frustrating from my behalf because Ed Richards coming off a 133, the only thing I could think of is that Bevo's like placing bets on and Ed Richards to hit the under because he sat him for 15 minutes in the fourth and he sat him for 12 minutes in the second, and he sent him forward. A bloke who hasn't spent much time forward in his career whatsoever. I went back and had a look at that. It's just the time's just not there. The stats are just not there. It's if anyone that's spent time forward, it's the Bont. But obviously, Bont playing prime Bont, you can't move that forward. Or even a Matt Kennedy played a bit forward, but not in this game. I just sent Richards. I'm hoping that he can score over his break even, which is now up to 100, I believe, or something similar. 95. I'm hoping that he can get that because my goal with him originally was hoping that this could be a little bit of a sneaky point of difference play so I could switch to Dacos. That's still going to be the play. That doesn't change. Even if he went to 120s, I was still going to switch to Dacos. So I'm hoping that he can make some break even and he doesn't lose me any cash because he had a break even of 33. That's another reason why I picked him. So he's gone up in cash. I need him to do that just one more time, and I won't see it as a complete fail. But man, if this happens again, I'll be a little bit disappointed.
Fair enough, and we'll trust me, we'll talk about a guy who I picked as a unique, as a premium. But we're not trading these guys. You hold them in a hope that they're gonna score a bit better. Because if you traded Ed Richards and he comes out 120 next week, you're spewing. So we hold him, we trust. You picked him for a reason. We can't react off one game. Only other one there I want to mention is Selwood there, who scored a 39. Not great, but had a low break even anyway, so makes a bit of cash, and he'll be fine there. As 299k he is now on my bench.
Break even of a 1.
Over to the Giants, and not too many relevant names, I guess. Not too many people picked Giants. So Lockie Ash headlines there with a 136. He was elite. So Zorko had was at the 140 last week against the Bulldogs. So we're definitely targeting this. So watch for who plays in this week? Adelaide, like a Laird, Miller even possibly, who was good this week. Watch for those guys. Cook, who's a great rookie. We'll get to the Crows later, but watch for them this week against the Bulldogs. That's going to become an easy matchup. So Ash was good, 136. Callahan was good, 109. I don't think anyone would have started him after his 86 in round 0, but he's a good premium that we could get off his bye. He's looking good. Toby Green, if anyone did go there, scored a 92, which was good after his disappointing round 0 score. So good job if you did. Lucky Whitfield was a bit disappointing with a 92 in what probably should have been a bit of a better matchup for him, but Ash seemed to take the cake there. Clayton Oliver, 79. Probably glad we didn't look at that too much and go there. It's just seeming like a bit of a dung pick. And then we go all the way to the bottom. Well, not all the way to the bottom, but Harry Roaston, again, pretty happy we're not going there, I think, with a 61. I had him, so I'm happy that Bruin kind of forced my hand to swap him around. And Kieran Briggs, I know we got off him a while ago, but thank God we didn't go there, 55 for him. So, yeah, we're not looking at many Giants, are we? They didn't go too well, apart from a couple. But let's talk about a pretty interesting game in Geelong v Freo. This was a great watch. Freo were leading very well early, and Geelong came back, and lots of questions about, opening round teams playing teams who didn't play opening round. But we're a fantasy podcast, so we won't discuss that. Geelong, Max Holmes went huge with a 132, and Bailey Smith with a 130. They're just the two in the midfield. I mean, by this week, you can absolutely be targeting both of them off of their bye. Bailey Smith obviously had that horror score with an 80 in round 0, so hopefully his price should be going back up in the right direction. I'm actually what's he priced at now? Let's have a look, because he'll be cheap off of that 80. Yeah, so 1.17 million, priced at about 114, I guess, 113. So you could be buying that. Max Holmes was great too. Tanner Bruin, who we all have a 94, super solid. You're not trading that off on his round 2 buy. I know he has the buy, but he's going to keep making a lot of cash for us and probably scoring well for us. I mean, he had that half back roll, a few CBAs, but seemed to score well in there. So we hold that for sure. I want to get your thoughts on Brian Myers as someone to target off his buy. Scored a 121 in opening round and now a 90 against Freo. Is he someone that, he's probably at $1 million now. Is he someone that you are looking at
Yeah. The
off
forward,
his buy? 1.01.
the forward line is tough this year. It really is tough. I was having a look at that today when I was looking at my trades and who I could trade. Like a bloke like a Marshall to if I pay up. Who do I pay up to? Brian Myers puts his hand up. Like you've got obviously your Shees and your Petrarca at the top. Flanders is a great pick as well. And then you get to the realm of like your Cozzy Pickett's, your Brian Myers, like blokes like that. Even a Dylan Moore I think is up there. It's what do you do? Who do you go to? And do we bother targeting the forward line this early in the year? Or because we've got some reliable rookies who we'll talk about later in your Cooks and your Dev Robs and even a Lombard, can you survive with 2 rookies in the forward line? Like I know we've talked a lot about having the backline defenders who are really, really strong with, but even for these, you get to round 6 through the round 2, 3, 4 buys with 2 rookies in the forward line, you'd expect that. And then you could probably even hide it behind a best 22 if those blokes keep continuing in the same direction before you have to pull the trigger, and then we get a much larger sample size. So I'm definitely saying you can pick Graham Wise if you want to, but personally, I just want a little bit of a larger sample size to see what his consistency is like against a different array of teams.
Fair enough. Other names there for Geelong is probably only Mitch Edwards, who some might have picked in their R3 spot. He scored a 40, so not fantastic. Had 52% time on ground, which was not great. So almost probably wouldn't have even counted for us if he was on field. So you're probably looking to, I mean, he's probably just going to rot there, I guess, in R3 if you did go there. Over to Freo, though, and someone who's not going to rot in your ruck spot is Luke Jackson. My God, 125. That was the right move.
That was, for sure. I reckon the English...
Yeah.
Going to English and then Jackson and having McAndrew on your bench, that was probably the best answer for all of the stuff we were trying to experiment with the rucks. I mean, it was right there in front of us, and we just did it. I mean, it wasn't a fail in McAndrew by any means, but this was the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're talking about value on your field in terms of how much money you're spending, I mean, getting Jackson priced at 95 for a 125 or McAndrew priced at 21 for a 71, I mean, in terms of value for money, but of course, someone like me used my money for a certain Fremantle midfielder who I want to name and shame really bad, and that's Andy Brayshaw. What the fuck was this guy doing? How do you score 53? Someone said this is his lowest score since 2021. You know how bad that is?
That's
5 years and he hasn't scored this low. Like I said before.
Kicked to go. And he kicked to go.
Oh, did he actually? I didn't even know that.
And
man.
He kicked to go.
Oh, man. 47 that would have been.
No
44 if you take out the kick for the goal. Anyway, you don't trade these guys. Yeah, I'll hold him. He's got some okay matchups to come. I think he's got Melbourne and Richmond off the top of my head to come. So you hold him. You hope that he plays out. And if I hold him for the year, he's not going to lose much value. So I wouldn't worry too much about break evens and stuff. Although, believe me, if he keeps going like this, he will be out of my team. So
55
Jesus,
point swing. I had a 55-point swing because I had Sarong in my team 7 minutes before the game.
For cheaper too.
And I for 100k cheaper, and I switched from Caleb Sarong to Andy Brayshaw as well. So just
you were so hot on Sarong all preseason
so
too. That stings.
This is a sign. This is a just follow my guns. Don't listen to the outside noise. We're fantasy people. We spend all of our time doing it. Just gonna back myself. Simple as that. My own fault.
Yeah.
So that one sucks. Yeah.
Although I tell you what, Off the Mark as a true what should I say, award-winning podcast, I might say.
For sure.
We caught some slack over the weekend.
Yeah. Now this was a little bit crazy. Like. The good thing is hopefully this one particular fella won't listen to the podcast because he hates us that much. But we're in a group chat. We've got this fantasy group. This is a couple of years. It's 2 years for me, 3 years for you, I think. And look, every time a pick goes wrong that we even mentioned, even if we mentioned their name saying, oh yeah, he's all right, but I'm going this person instead, even if you say that much, straight to off the mark. Off the mark is ruined,
Yeah.
off the mark's fault. Now, hear me out. You and I, we contradict each other a lot. We often do. You say some things and I'll go against it and I'll be right. And then sometimes I'll say something, you'll be right. It doesn't matter. Whoever was wrong, it gets classed as off the mark. So we both cop all of the wrong answers,
Yeah,
even if
yeah.
the right answers were in there hidden.
And not the right ones, yeah. The right ones is everyone else's decision.
Exactly
No,
right.
there
So
was some we got threats of being run over by a tundra. We had threats of the Mason files being released. We had multiple things that just
everyone was going to sue us. We're going to
Yeah.
get sued by 3 people. So
yeah.
one of those things.
Well,
Base,
but
just it's a long season.
I will say that this morning when lockout lifted, they all came crawling back for our advice.
They
so,
did. They did, and they were like, "Oh,
look-
what do I do with my Nick Dacos and my Sam Walsh?" What you do is you watch Mason and I outscore you this week, and you watch us outscore you the next 3 weeks. That's what you do. Sorry, mate.
Bang.
Yeah.
Bang. That's right. I've deceived you to rank 51k. That's what I've done. All right. Anyways, back to Frere. Yeah, Sarong, great with a 108 there. Reed as well with a 78 was probably the pick if you went those mid prices in the forward line.
Probably Rochelle
although,
was
to be honest,
with a 90.
Oh yeah, that's true. Rochelle was pretty good, but I don't think you're mad about going Reed. Was pretty good in this one. And yeah, that's about it for Freo. So let's move on to the next game, which was Saturday night, where we saw the Swans and the Lions. And gee, the Lions are not having a great start to the season, which is interesting. But Riley Bice top scored there for Sydney with a 103. So he was great, an old friend of ours. And Errol, now this is the story out of this one, a 101, and did his shoulder and confirmed today he's out for 4 months. That's
That's a long time.
horror. We're lucky that he's pretty highly owned, so he's going to be out of people's trades a lot this week. But the question is what to do with him, I guess.
I feel really bad because I went into the round without Errol, going against the grain, praying for his downfall. And this is not what I wanted. I was hoping like an 80 and everyone's forced to hold and then he goes like an 80 again next week. I did not wish this upon him. I apologize just in case like there is a god and he was making me happy.
This is what people were saying you should get run over by a tundra for.
Yeah,
It was
like,
this.
bro, my bad. He still got you a ton. He was better than Bam Adebayo's Ed Richard with the 83. You're not a basketball bloke. Anyway, it's better than that. Errol Gooden scored 101 and now he's gone. You think of it as like you had a round 2 buy player that you were you wouldn't even trade a round 2 buy player. But anyway, you've got to get
It's what
off.
I said to someone today.
And
yeah,
the only thing
he's essentially got to buy.
Yeah, there's 2 things you can do. There's 2 things you can sideways to a Merritt or a Sarong. If you're confident in either of those, which I'm confident in Merritt. Well, I'll talk a bit about Freo Primos in our Thursday episode. I'm not confident in either. Anyway, but or you go down to the bottom. You go down to like a Murdoch or a Blomyers or one of those rookies you missed. It could even be in the forward line with a bit of DPP or like if a Grill if you didn't have that sort of thing. And there's not really anything else. I find it incredibly hard to hold him this week. Just because that's a lot of cash that you're missing for not 1 but 2 weeks. If you're still intending to get rid of him the next week, you make that move now and you bank the cash to use the next week. It's you got to do something. You can't have him as a red dot this week. I don't think you can.
No, definitely not. Especially if you do have some like Nick Dacos, Sam Walsh, some of those midfield premiums on the buy. But yeah, I mean, thank God he scored us a 101 is all I can say. And he was looking good as well. So in that last quarter, just the 2 points went down at the 5 minute or 7 minute mark there. It is. He went to the bench. So yeah, pretty lucky we got there. But yeah, I think the move that I have right now is him going down to Murdoch and a mid-pricer in Parish at the moment it is for me going up. And then I'm taking about 600k into next week, and that'll go to either one of the Dacos boys, a Zorko, a Holmes, a Smith, someone like that. So I think that's the play at the moment. We'll see how the week goes, and come back to us on Thursday, and we might have a completely different answer. Other names there for the Swans: Jai Sarong, 59 was fine. That's what we expect from a rookie, but this was the one I fielded over Grill and Jax, who scored 90 and 112. So this one really stung, and it was that was where I lost my week. Really was with the rookies. So I mean, I guess it means I didn't pick too many bad players. I say that as we just went through Andy Brayshaw. And the other relevant name there for this one's Brody Grundy with a 51. He's going to get so cheap for us. And look, I feel really bad if you started him. That's a pretty bad pick.
I look
think
forward.
you're looking to jump off that
I
probably.
look forward to when Luke Jackson picks up DPP with either midfield or forward status, and Brody Grundy is like 800k. That's going to be a great week. We'll get two of the most the best ruckman last year, and maybe one of the best ruckman this year for. Chuck him in the forward line, chuck him in the right. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. Over to Brisbane, and we saw Dane Zorko go big again with a 121. We have to look at him off his bye, I think. I mean, it feels like we didn't talk about him all preseason, but we have to do it.
Yeah, you have to. It's as simple as that. The Zork mode button might have to come back because like
it might have to make a return.
It might have to because this is next level. The guy's like 48 and he's pulling out stuff like this. It's like unbelievable. He just even in losing games, he still finds a way to wax. Like the Lions couldn't get past Swans midfield defense kind of thing. They set up a pretty good zone, so they were switching it, and guess who was in the middle of that switch every single time? Zorkmo. So you got to look at that. You have to.
Definitely. Other names there for the Lions. Kitty Coleman at 58, so if you did go there, probably not a great pick. Zach Kostelski, who I ended up going with in my R3, scored a 49. So again, not great, not far off Edwards, but had that nice break even from round 0, which is what I was thinking of. And he now, where is he in my team, sits there R3 with 298k on his head with a -3 break even. So I think that's a good pick. Should stay on the side. And he played the Harris Andrews role and only had 6 marks. You'd hope against maybe some better matchups that's a bit of a better mark count, I guess. That's about it for the Lions.
Solid.
On to the other Saturday night game. This one was a cracker. Collingwood versus the Crows. I did enjoy watching this one. Annoying that I had to flick between the two games, but look, this was good fun. And for the Pies, it was Nick Dacos up the top there with 127. We've said it all about him all episode. You got to target him off his bye.
Have to.
And that's what we're saving for the cash. And, you could target his brother, Josh Dacos, at 102 after he went 141 last week. Definitely could target him as well. But the interesting one here was Dan Houston, 119. That was a good pick, and it is enough that if you missed it, you lost that decision.
It was a layup of a pick. It was right there to pick. Had the minus break even coming into the round, underpriced in a team that just like chips around and racks up marks. Took 11 marks this week. I think he took 9 marks last week, or maybe even something like that. It's going to continue to happen. So you've got to pick him off the bye. Houston over Josh Dacos. Who you picking first if you had neither?
Oh man. Well, what's Houston at now? Is it like 800k, 817k with a break even of 21? Oh, I'm still picking Dan Houston. And I as a Houston owner, am worried about picking Josh Dacos because I feel like at some point one of them's going to drop off.
Yeah.
It's probably Houston, but I don't want to own both of them for that, so I'm just going to put my faith in Houston. Even though you probably will be the one to drop off. But
for sure.
But yeah, I think this is going to be a common theme. We're going to see the Dacos boys in Houston be the top 3 scorers most Collingwood games, I think. So, and that was about it for them. I mean, Darcy Cameron, 87, if you did go there, was good. And Rowan Steele, if you went there, and your R3 of 51 was also good after his 53. So he is making cash slowly too. Over to Adelaide though, and we saw top scorer Wayne Miller at 111. We missed this one in the preseason. I think everyone did. Could it be a flash in the pan? Could it be a pick that we're looking at in a few weeks and wanting him at our side? Who knows? But he was very good. Josh Shelley, as you said before, 98, was probably the pick of those forward line guys. But it didn't,
with Rankin coming back.
Look that great.
He got
the
pretty
role
lucky.
with Rankin coming back is a concern. He had 1 goal in that. He had a lot of...
He had a tackle, which was then deemed a holding the ball, which he then scored a goal off,
Yeah.
which is +9, +4, +1, which is got him +14. Yeah, he got a +14. In which probably could have just been a 0 and a bottle up. So take that away, it's back to like an 80, which is still a pretty good score, 84. But
it is, yeah. Oh, he definitely had a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rankin coming back is the concern about, do they just put Rankin back in there as a midfielder as he played all of last year, or are they set on experimenting with Rochelle? You're not buying into it off a 98. I think especially if you still had the like the two rookie kind of setup. I think you're sticking with that, especially with the fact that Cook and Dev Rob are probably two options we're happy to play on field.
Yeah.
And you probably, if you have Rochelle, obviously you're holding, but
Same
you know,
talk
if
I
you
had
have
with
one of these
Grant
mid
Myers.
prices
Yeah.
wanting to get off,
Yeah.
you or even a Marshall that you want to get off, you're probably just going down to that rookie you missed. And that could be Cook, who scored an 84. He looked fantastic, kind of halfback, pushing up onto a wing, but he looked to get up the ground a fair bit. Was open for a +6 a lot, so had 14 kicks, 7 marks, kicked a goal in that as well, which was good. So he kicks off his cash gen very, very nicely, and sits there in our our forward line. 386k he is now. So I think if this is one of the ones, along with probably Murdoch and probably Murdoch, I think, is the one that most people would have missed, and Cook. You're probably liking this one, and I think if you started him over Doveston, which was what I changed just after our episode on Thursday, I think definitely a good decision. Although Doveston was good, but this was the right call. Yeah. And obviously our favourite there, Lockie McAndrew, 71. I think it's fine to have him on field. I know LJ went big and that probably stings, but look, for the value you're getting playing him on field and scoring, 70s, and this was against Darcy Cameron, who's not an easy matchup. Yeah. English, yes, is one of the premier ruckmen who he plays this week, but is notoriously good, easy to score against. Obviously, we saw Briggs not do very well, but I think a ruck like McAndrew who can keep up with English could score well. So I think we're good with that.
Who would you go? Would you go McAndrew against English, or would you go Vicentini against non-existent Blackiston?
Oh, that's a good one. I think I'd have...
I'm going Vicentini.
Well... Let's quickly jump to Northern Port and talk about Vicentino, who did score a 68, which looks bad, but he was the 5th highest scorer for Port Adelaide.
And played Sherry
True. There's something in that, and I think I'd be going Vicentini playing Essendon. But, let's talk about Port for a second.
It's all good.
I don't want
to... I tipped North, I can't lie. So I got that tip right because I thought we're going to shit the fucking bed.
Jesus.
Shit the bed, so...
There you go. Well, it was interesting. I only watched the first quarter of this game, but it was really interesting watching Port kind of have a handle on it. And I tweeted out that they looked like they were really pressing North and not letting them get any options past like the midway point of the ground, which was forcing North to chip a lot around the back line. That's going to be huge if we can see that be a constant thing. Obviously, Port ended up not playing the game the way they wanted, but if they can do that, and against Essendon is a perfect way to see this week, but Dylan Stevens, 135, just had so much outside ball, so many +6s there with 20 kicks, 11 marks. Harry Sheasel, 18 kicks, 8 marks. Luke Parker, 13 kicks, 8 marks. Sherry was also good. Davies Uniac, 15 kicks, 6 marks. Blamires, even as a rookie, 14 kicks, 5 marks. So that was great. Sorry, Sheasel, 118. Blamires, 77 were probably the two main ones there that we looked at. And they were both great. You can be fielding Blamires as cover for Bruin and Jagger this week. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Other names there. So Finn O'Sullivan, probably not relevant for us anymore, but he did tag, which was interesting. I didn't see it so much as a tag as he was standing with Butters, because he only stood with him for the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game, and then it swapped over to, oh God, who did I see with him? Might have been, I don't know. I don't remember who I saw with him. Someone else in the midfield.
I was struggling to watch this game with a fantasy mind. I'll tell you what, the poor fan cap took over. Yep.
Fair enough. Doveston there for a 56 was fine. If he went there, he's going to slowly generate some cash. Didn't kick a goal in this one too, so probably should be better in future games. McKercher is the big one I want to talk about. Now, this was my call on Thursday of do I go McKercher or do I go Windhager? Now, McKercher scored poorly here, and I went fantastic. Didn't pick him. A lot of people did have him, and if you do have him, I think, do you hold or do you trade? This is a really 50-50 one for me. I'm not sure.
Depends. So there's a lot of people out there who have McKercher and Bergman, who we'll get to in a sec. You've got to trade. If you've got both, you've got to trade one. Because Bergman was looking through that foot injury. It's Colby. Now, two things could happen. The first thing that I see most likely to happen is that he's had his practice match. He's had his 64% time on ground game. You treat that as your preseason game for him, and he looked good. He looked like he wasn't labouring at all. I know you didn't watch this, but I thought he looked quite nice. He had a really good run off the halfback 50, where he broke a tackle, took a bounce, and kept running down the wing and going inside 50.
I did see that one,
he looked pretty good. So I think he didn't look like he's laboured. So I reckon his time on ground increases, whether his forward midfield time that switches over, maybe one more game. But I think out of the two of them, I think we can see a quicker improvement from Colby than we can from Bergman, who did look like he was labouring with his foot and didn't play as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. Bergman's got the Port Adelaide run, the Green Mile, or if you want to call it, but North play West Coast, and then they play Essendon. I reckon I'd be holding Colby over the two of them.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Bergman with that 52 there. So, yeah, Colby, not only was he limited time on ground, so played, what?
64% time on ground.
Came onto the ground 15 minutes into the first quarter, so spent the first 15 minutes on the bench. Had 2 breaks one of 4 minutes and another one of 5 minutes in the second quarter. Start of the third quarter had a 9-minute break on the bench. Then midway through the third quarter had another 4-minute break, and then in the fourth quarter had a 6-minute break.
This is running. This is running clock. This isn't of the quarter. This isn't 6 of the 20 minutes. This is running clock. So 6 of the 30, 31, 32, if you want to call it like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, spent a fair bit of time, and a lot. The key for me is that he went to the bench 6 different times, which. You have 5 on the bench, but you still have 75 rotations. It was obvious that they were really trying to manage his time on ground. He looked good. The problem for me with holding him is the role. He was playing a mid-forward split. Didn't really look like he spent any time, at least not starting, but kind of also not playing on half-back, which is a worry for me that when he is fit, he's a mid-forward or like a half-forward that they want kicking into the forward line as opposed to a guy coming out of defence. They have plenty of those players. Blamires there was good off half-back. Parker went to half-back and was solid, scored 100, but was also solid football-wise. They got Caleb Daniel back there. I just feel like there's too many names for them to want to go with him back there, and it makes me very happy I didn't pick him, and for that, I think I'm saying you probably try and get off it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. For me, it's one of those you're not buying into it, but it's not the top of your worries. If you've got nothing else wrong, like let's say you didn't pick a Parrish, you didn't pick a Goulden, you didn't have like even a Todd Marshall or something like that, which a lot of people would be in that situation. I can't think of any people more blaringly obvious. Maybe like your Bergmans or like you hold him over you're holding Blackiston over him. You're holding even a bloke definitely. Like an Xavier Lindsay. I reckon you're holding over him. Caleb Windsor, who a lot of people have. Preview, I'm trading both of those blokes. But I think you can hold some guys over Colby, so you get rid of Colby first. But if you've got nothing wrong with your side, there's nothing wrong with getting rid of him. Is that where
so he is 780?
Yeah, anyway,
he's 783k now, so lost 40k, and he's got a break even of 103 now, which I find it almost impossible for him to hit. So the other thing is he's going to lose cash, and I know a lot of people are talking about going him to Houston next week. If you want to hold him for another game, you could. West Coast, yes, a good matchup, but I don't see him going over that break even, which means that he could get all the way down to 750, or God forbid he scores another 40, 700k, and Houston's sitting at 800k. I think he said he was before. So yeah, it's not fantastic. I think you're wanting to move off that this week. If you're wanting to move off it, you do it this week. If you're willing to hold and let him pump out some bad scores to then get him when he's good, or keep him when he's good, you just hold. Well, let's move over to Port then. And Butters and Rosie up the top with 92 and 89. I'm not concerned about this because they scored 1248 as a team, and they were still the two by far highest scorers. So yes, they were on the low end, but look, we could see both of them come out and score 150s against Essendon this week. So not concerned about that. Vicentini, we talked about before, 68, fifth highest scorer. Again, not concerned. Bergman, talked about that, definitely a concern. Todd Marshall, 43. You can trade him out if you like. I think definitely if you missed Cook, that's a must-do. You go down to that. Or if you don't have Devon Robertson.
Or Lombard, even.
You probably want to get Lombard, I think.
Anyway. For me, there's two things. If he's named, you're like, look, his break-evens are 34. He probably hits that. If he's not named, you can kind of see that as a gift, as you either... is you treat him as a round 2 buy player and you just put a rookie on field, or you think, oh yeah, look, this guy's run his course, I get to just switch him straight away. It was a failed pick, but for me, I think because his break even's still 34, if he plays even through a little bit of an ankle injury, it's going to be hard for him not to hit a 30. Like there was two
Yeah.
players that didn't. There was only one player, sorry, that didn't hit 30, and that was the Sava Radigalia, who plays a similar role and gave away 4 free kicks. So
Yeah.
I think if he plays, it's not one of your, like, you get rid of Colby over him, that kind of thing. Like, it's holdable. It sucks, but it's
Yeah.
holdable. And for someone in my position who, like, you and I both nailed the forward rookies. We got Lombard, we got Deverob, and we got Cook without a Doveston. We don't need to jump on a Doveston, and there's no one else screaming out forward rookies for us to pick. So there's really no point unless we were trading up for Todd Marshall to trade to. And that's the same conversation I had when I was talking about Graham Myers and your Murphy Reeds and your Sam Lawlers and all of those blokes. I want to see more. I want to see a higher sample size. We've got best 18. We don't need that fourth forward scoring. We've got Petrarca, we've got Sheasel, we've got Flanders. We've even got a Buderick who's going to outscore one of those guys probably. I see it as a hold. Personally, he's not.
Yeah.
If you're in luxury trade season, Matt, do it. But I really don't think there's a need to.
Yeah, I think if you nailed those three, Deverob, Lombard, Cook, you can hold and save the cash for a week where you want to use it. Could get you somewhere interesting next week. On to the next game, though, and we'll talk Melbourne-St Kilda. Melbourne actually beat St Kilda in this one. All that money they spent on players and still can't win a game. Anyways, Melbourne at the top there with sorry, I had to throw a bit of shade.
Salty.
Melbourne at the top. Max Gawn with a 109 was big there, so he's still good. Cozzy Pickett a 91, definitely good considering he got tagged. So if you went there, that's good, and you just hold on to that. Probably not trading into it. Jack Steele 85 was really, really interesting. So he had a 37-point last quarter after 0 in the first, 9 in the second, and 14 in the third. So yeah.
Really? Hang on, that doesn't add up. He had a 0 in the first.
Never mind. The
That
the website I use, which I won't name drop because I'm about to shit on them, the quarter splits are quite often wrong, and apparently every Saints player scored 0 in the first quarter, so
There you go, yeah.
probably not right.
So
but
4,
anyway,
9, 10, 10, 4,
didn't
so
score
probably
well in the
25.
first 3 quarters. But he actually interestingly did say after the game that he felt really rattled playing his old side.
Fair enough too.
So I think there's something to that. I think that he'll be all right. And look, 85 is not a bad score in the end. So we just hold on to that.
I don't even think you luxury trade that. I reckon you hold it. Find something else to do.
Yeah, definitely. If that is seriously your thing to do, you'd have to be like number 1 ranked.
Yeah.
Caleb Windsor, another pick for us, 65. Just a little bit disappointing, but it's still above his break even, I guess. So he can't. It's just not the way we would have wanted him to start his cash gen off. But look, we take it. It's okay. And I think we probably hold this one.
Did he look like he was playing through it? Because you watched this over the Port game. Did he look like he was labouring a little bit? I hear there's word that he was battling a bit of an injury.
Yeah,
Didn't look as good.
I think Cal Toomey broke like 20 minutes before the game that he had like a calf or a quad strain or something. So nothing serious that will keep him out of the football. But yeah, definitely was working through something. He didn't look like it. He actually looked pretty good. Was definitely getting a lot of outside ball. Look, I don't think he's going to be an accumulator type. I think he's going to be like a very similar to kind of, I don't know, doesn't play the same, but a similar scorer to someone like a George Wardlaw, where he's just kind of an 80 guy, maybe 90 if you're lucky. Never going to be that 100 guy, I don't think, or at least definitely not now. So, yep, 65 is fine if you really want to trade him. I think it's a bit of a luxury move, but you could do it if there's someone you want to go to in the back line. So I'd tick that off. And Xavier Lindsay, 60. I was really hot on this guy, and I ended up swapping him late to Parrish. I guess you could say I'm glad I did it, although I probably got better value for Lindsay. Well, actually, it was about the same.
They both did the same, pretty much, yeah. I reckon.
Yeah, so
for me, it's not promising. And what I've done personally, we're not talking trades in this podcast. We'll do that Thursday. But I've currently gotten rid of both Windsor and Lindsay just because I wasn't impressed by the role. They had a win. The ball was around their area or where they should play a lot. Xavier Lindsay just sat on a wing, and man, he got a cold wing. So some games he'll get a hot wing and he'll get some high scores, but on the games that he'll get a cold wing like this, it's not enough value for me to. So I've gone the double downgrade to your Blamires and your Murdoch, which I just see as an absolute win. Both who have minus break evens.
Yeah, definitely.
Both bank me cash so I can go up to your boys like your Dacos and both Dacoses and your Houstons and even a Zork mode. Like if you really want to, like. I just think it's just not the value that we thought it was, which the boys let us know in the group chat. By far, they let us know that.
Oh, believe me, this was the one. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably going to be the move this week is the fix up trades, and particularly with the mid prices. It's Windsor, Lindsay, and Parrish is probably the other main one. Windsor had the role. Lindsay didn't quite have the halfback role I thought he would. It kind of more went to Salem, which leads me to believe Lindsay maybe had it while Salem was coming back from that little hamstring thing he had in the preseason, possibly. So Lindsay was kind of more pushing up onto a wing type of thing, but still played in the back line. And Parrish, the one thing I forgot to say before was that the reason he scored so high in the first quarter was because Essendon were using the corridor, which is something good teams do. And he was the one sitting in there in the corridor. And I watched that fourth quarter when he was running through that corridor, up and down the ground, up and down, providing an option was free, and Essendon were just pressure kicking it down the wing. And it was just... So it holds me hope that Parrish was, in a game that Essendon win, which I guess I don't have much hope then. He could be good because they're going to use him, but yeah, I don't know. And Lindsay, the same thing. Stuck on a wing, not really the role we wanted. Are they going to use him if he's stuck on a cold wing? No. So you hold, you don't buy, pretty much, with both of those guys. Over to the Saints, though, we saw some big scores here. Jack Sinclair with a 110 was great. Flanders 96, great. You just tick both of those. Good picks. Windhager, I don't know if you picked him, but we were lucky to get a 93. Holy shit. Because he tagged Cozzy Pickett hard. Like, he was like... there was no care that the ball was there. He was on Pickett. Bro, Pickett was the target.
Football perspective, as Ross Lyon, how do you not tag Nick Dacos and then go out and tag Cozzy Pickett the next week? How is that
with a slow midfielder?
Like,
pick someone fast.
How is that your idea of clever? Like, Windhager got 0 tackles as a tagger because Cozzy Pickett's a lightning bolt and Windhager's not as fast. Put Garcia on him if you're doing anything. Like, what are you...
Thank you.
Anyway,
thank you.
He got 93. I'm happy.
Yeah, 93 was good. He was around the ball a lot. 15 kicks, 17 handballs, 4 marks. Yeah, again, no tackles. And no goals either in that. So pretty impressive in the end. So we're happy with that. Wanganeen Miller, a 77. I think we're just not going there this year. He just gets thrown around too much. He played halfback, midfield, and full forward all in this game.
Wasn't happy either.
3 goals as well for a 77. Yeah, was not happy that he had to come to the bench at the end. Oh my God. Right. That was funny. But yeah, we're staying away from that and hoping he can get cheap, but I don't know if he's ever going to lock down a role with Ross Lyon as his coach.
I reckon the only...
Jack Carroll...
Yeah. I was going to say the only Wanganeen Miller is we just need the Wayne part of that and the Miller part of that. That's the only all we need from the Wanganeen Miller.
That's a good one.
Wayne Miller.
Jack Carroll 58. That was who I ended up going Dyson Sharp for, who scored a 50. So I'm happy with that. I saved a bit of cash there.
I still got him.
It's fine.
Carroll. Yep. It's fine.
It's minus fine. 1 break low break even makes you some good cash. Philippou 33 injured. Some people were really lucky that they ended up getting the Dev Rob on field with this injury score.
That was great.
Man, we'll talk about him here, I guess. Philippou failed pick. You probably trade that now, I think.
Not even probably. You got to. I think that trumps a McKercher. That trumps a Parrish or Lindsay, any of those blokes. The Goulden first and then a Philippou. I can't think of another person that you'd trade before him. Can you?
You trade him over Marshall as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I don't think there's... Yeah. I reckon that's your number one problem if you got him.
Yeah. On to the last game of the week now, Gold Coast versus West Coast. I kind of thought this would be a bit irrelevant, but man, was it exciting. So Petrarca 108. This could have been so much bigger, by the way. So you had a 48-point first quarter, then just 13, 25, and 22. Kicked 4 goals. I think 3 of them from memory were in the first quarter. Yeah, kicked the one in the last quarter as well. So he was looking huge at the start of this game. But West Coast actually managed to wrestle back a little bit of momentum in the second half, which was interesting for how we view them as a matchup, I guess. So Witts was top scorer with 115, Petrarca 108, Noah Anderson 106 was good as well. I did get a knock to the head though. I don't think we've heard anything about a concussion, so hopefully he's all right.
Concussion. The HIO was cleared, so he's all good for that one. Yep.
There you go. So 106, and that was good for those guys. And Leo Lombard was probably the, not the only rookie. We'll talk about one in a sec. Leo Lombard with a 60. This was what lost me our matchup. This was what ended up losing me our matchup was Casey went a certain Devon Robertson who scored a 104 to my Leo Lombard 60, and it
Who
was
I had
just,
been
I don't know
preaching.
why I
Who
ever
I had been
thought
preaching.
Lombard would score more as a forward pocket than Devon Robertson in
Throw
the
back to
midfield.
the Monday podcast, and I posed you with the question. I said, Dev Rob with the midfield or Lombard against West Coast. And at the same time, I said Dev Rob, and you said Lombard. And hey, look, I can't think of a more fairy tale way to prove me right than it coming down to the last game. You're ahead by 30 points, and
Yeah.
then Dev Rob scores them by
Yeah.
40.
Oh,
That
I was
nice.
clear as well. I love how the app gives you a little percentage now, and I think it was like 1%
I had a
that you were going to
1%
win.
chance win, and my boy Dev Rob
So-
pulled through. He only scored like 5 in the fourth quarter as well. I was getting scared because Lombard kicked a goal in the fourth.
Yeah,
I was getting
11
really
he
scared.
scored, yeah.
11 in the bro. I was worried. Anyway, good on you, Dev Rob.
Well, the only other Gold Coast guy I want to mention there is Zeke Ullin. Fuck, this is you don't get off that, but man, if you picked him, that is a huge fuck up for
you
your
get off
cash
the
gen.
app. if you picked
19.
him. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
get
quick.
off the game. Delete team button, I think.
Something like
Over to West Coast though. Gee, that maybe they're going to be a little bit more relevant this year. Devon Robertson up the top with a 104, so he was fantastic. 12 tackles.
That's
Was
next level.
elite.
Next
So
level.
we're definitely looking at him on field, not taking him off again. And Murdoch as well, 95. Been on the list for 2 weeks.
It's
He gets a 95. So
It's weird for me with Murdoch because the role he had, he shouldn't have scored as well as he did. He was in that kind of forward pocket and then pushed into for some. I think he had some CBAs. Prove me if I'm wrong. But he was up and around the stoppage, but exclusively in
Yeah,
the forward line. So
definitely,
it was
that's
kind
what I
of it's kind of weird. I didn't expect him to score that highly. It was pretty. I think his tackles kind of saved him. If he had 4 or 5 from memory, tackles wise, and
5, yeah.
yeah, 5 tackles, and he kicked a couple goals. So. We're not going to expect 90s from him by any means, but I think we can safely expect 70s. I think 60 to 70. I think is where I can see Murdoch consistently scoring. But then again, it's West Coast. There's no consistency in scoring. I'm surprised we hit a ton against Gold Coast in a walloping that it was. We won the third quarter, by the way. Anyway, just got to get excited. We didn't win a quarter
Just gotta
for
put that in there.
5 weeks last year, so I was happy for that. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Murdoch is. I mean, he was 230k. He's gone up to what is he? Oh, I keep
293.
tapping out of my AFL. 293. There you go. So you're definitely still going at that now. And what his break even? Yeah, minus 26. So you're doing that for sure over any other rookie that you're picking.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60s, 70s. It's good for the bench. Good for cash gen. Probably not on field, although maybe gets you buying these buys.
Oh, it gets you through the
I
buy
we're
rounds
probably
easily.
picking
Yeah.
Myers over him, anyways. But oh well. Other names there. Tom McCarthy, 88. I just think that it was a bad pick. It's the West Coast thing. It's we ended up being right because we didn't pick him. I think that was the consensus on that. And we all kind of got off, which was good.
Yeah.
But you hold if you did have him.
He will hit tons this year. Not consistent.
Oh, definitely.
But he will hit
Just
some tons.
inconsistently. Yeah.
Correct.
Willem Dersma there for 69 he looks fantastic. He's a great player, not the fantasy scorer, but look, if you picked him, I think it's fine. Starts off his cash gen pretty well. Obviously was a bit more expensive, but look, 69 is great. And Josh Lindsay there just behind him, 66, also fine, but these two are not hurting you if you didn't pick them as well. Cooper Duff Tytler, 51 as a rookie there.
That's all right if you had him as your
it's
R3.
alright, yeah.
Like your Zach Estelle, you would have scored more, but Tyler gets another game that you can hold with that buy.
That's true.
But just want to give a little bit of props, not fantasy relevant by any means this year, but my boy, Bo Allen, scored a 50. I think that's probably his highest score ever. Actually, just
We'll give him a clap.
I'm absolute massive fan of that bloke. He's unreal. He was in my fantasy team for literally the entire year.
Yeah.
Last year.
There was a play, I don't know if you caught it, where he like burst through the midfield or something, or like he ran into a guy and like span around with the
awesome player.
He is quick. I did not like
bro.
his fantasy profile. He's a bit of a chunker on there. Like he looks like a bit of a big bloke. Like he'll bash into some guys, but he looks kind of slow.
He's quick.
And especially being out of the side, he looks kind of slow. He was fucking quick. Like I saw that and I was like, oh, he kind of put it on my radar. Maybe I needed to pick him, but fine with a 50 if we've convinced you to go there off this long running joke, which if we did, sorry, but look, it was all right with a 50.
It wasn't bad.
But yeah, that's round one. Now,
That's
just
round
quickly
one.
before we end, what are your trades as they sit now?
Yeah, I've been kind of hinting to it the whole week. I go Lindsay to Murdoch, and then Windsor with a bit of DPP with Grill to Blamires. So that banks me 588k, which I've got to upgrade my boys like Ed Richards and somebody else to your Dacos next week, and maybe even a Zork mode or something like that next week. It gives me options to finally get these buy players. So that's what I'm doing this round. Yourself?
Well, as it sits for me, I've got Errol down to Murdoch, and then I'm going Parish. Oh, I guess you could do it either way. I'll say Errol sideways to Merritt, Parish all the way down to Murdoch. Brings me 636k in the bank, and yep, I'm looking to definitely get Nick Dacos next week. The Zach Merritt ones, I've kind of just got him as a placeholder there, and I still don't know if I'm going to go out Parish or, I mean, the Errol down to a rookie is definite, and I don't know whether to upgrade someone else or, like, how much cash do I hold into next week is my question, I guess. And I think I have to do a bit of planning over who I'm going to trade next week to Nick Dacos. But, I mean, tell you what, guys like Windsor, Blackiston have short-term life on my field. Who was the other one that I was going to mention there? Oh, Parish as well, but I'm trading him. So, yeah, all they've got to do is put up one more bad score, and I think I'm done. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
I agree with that. No, I reckon that's it. Well, you know, in true off-the-mark fashion, with any luck, your round one score for the first time this year was on the mark.
And not off the mark. And we'll be back with you on Thursday to discuss all things round two, looking at some trades, some captains, watching the games. And yeah, we'll be back. See you then.
See you then.